Okay, what is up, people? Welcome back to another live stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always, guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. Of course, hit the bell as well if you haven't done so already, so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. And also check out the Elevating Traders Discord channel, completely free to join. Link to that in the description below and also at the top of the chat. You can't miss it. Chat with other traders, including myself, join discussions. Of course, you can learn a little bit more about Elevating Traders if you're looking to find out some more information. So go check it out if you haven't done so already. But as always, guys, we'll go through the USD pairs first, take a look at USD majors, DXY, and gold and silver. And of course, we'll get through some requests as well. But of course, we had some really big gaps in the market from the market open. So things are a little bit volatile at the moment, but in terms of the bias, it still stays the same since the back end of last year. So still looking at more upside for USD. However, we've had a pretty steep correction the past few hours, but we have come into a healthy place for potentially another push to the upside. Coming back into this area where we did have a brief consolidation last week, stalled for a few hours and did see a really big move to the upside, of course, coming into this new week. And I did say I'm still expecting to see a push back to the high there at 110. So the bias for the dollar is still very bullish. However, in terms of looking to get involved, we need to see price start to hold this area, start to form some wicks, and we could be looking at a big move back to where we came from. Looking at the lower time frames, like the hourly chart, things do look pretty bearish still. So I want to see some evidence of price stalling at this area, wicks, shift in momentum, evidence that we're holding support. And that could be a nice confirmation to go long on dollar, but potentially short euro, short pound. We'll get into those pairs in a moment. But USD DXY is still at a pretty comfortable area for some buys where we could turn around. Nice consolidation, really strong move to the upside. Now let's see if price can hold on to this. But at the moment, like I said, still looking pretty bearish. So I need to wait for evidence of price turning around. If we do go and break through this area, then I'll probably back away, especially if we break through the low here. That to me is a bit more of a sign of either consolidation or reversal. I wouldn't say the break of that low is necessarily going to make me quote unquote bearish, because this is still the higher low that gave us the higher high. So technically speaking, this is really the low that will put me bearish. But even then, we could still consolidate as well. So if we do break through this low, I'll be looking at this as a bit more of a consolidation or potentially a reversal. We'll see how price develops afterwards, whether we start selling off aggressively or we just kind of chop around. We'll make note of that. But at the moment, really key area, if we do hold this, like I said, USD buys look good, break through, things do get a bit choppy at that stage. So my bias for USD for now is look to see what we can do at this area and target still back at that same higher high at 110. In terms of Euro USD, again, pretty much the exact opposite. Looks like price has corrected itself as well. So of course, with USD tanking yesterday, Euro USD is going to push up as well. I'm still looking for a push back into the low here. And looks like price has pretty much filled the gap. We gap from this area here to the open there, and you pretty much would consider that gap filled. So the market has filled that gap very, very well. I was debating whether price would go fill it straight away or potentially might take a few days, but literally within 24 hours, prices filled the gap very, very well. Pound USD did it pretty quick as well yesterday. So yeah, that gap is filled. We've seen price come back into an area again where we could find some resistance supply and potentially sell off as well. So we're kind of in the same situation with the dollar as we are with euro, coming to an area where we've seen bearish pressure before. So if the market is going to hold into this area, we could see another lower high form. We had one over there, second over there, could be looking at third. For again, another sell back into this low. Like I said, if you do break through that area, that would definitely relax my bearish bias with Euro USD. And I would kind of just see and monitor how price develops, because again, we might form a larger consolidation, maybe you do form a big reversal. I mean, it could be steaming to the upside. We have to see how things develop. But if you do break through this area, especially take up the high then the left, that does kind of invalidate this bearish structure here. So yeah, I won't be looking at sells actively anymore. But coming into this area, very interesting area, pretty much in sync with the DXY. If we can hold it, it does look like price can turn around. And of course, if that's the case, then we're coming back to these lows here. We still have that last major lower high up there at 1.062. Just after we created that low, then of course we created the lower low. So the plan is lower high, lower low, so on and so forth. However, we'll see how price reacts at this 1.038 area. Pound USD, I was looking at this one as well, but the retracement was pretty aggressive. Like I said, we filled the gap pretty quickly for pound USD. Before yesterday was over, price was already filling that gap pretty well. And now we're back at an area of supply as well. So same situation for pound USD in terms of back at consolidation, strong drop to the downside. Can price hold this to continue that bearish sequence? If we zoom out, you can see the numerous lower highs the market's been printing. In fact, if we go to the daily chart, see a little bit better with the high over there, lovely drop, another lower high, lovely drop, lower high. So again, looking for pretty much the fourth lower high in the sequence for again a push back to the low. So the plan is to look to continue that momentum. Again, if pound USD does break through this area, that would then put me off the trade, to be honest, because we've had a really strong sell. Market's now putting a higher low in. And of course, taking out that high means we're putting a higher high in. So again, invalidating structure. Again, it might just be a large correction or a big consolidation before we before we sell off again. But I would have to wait for things to develop and wait for another good opportunity to arise. If you do break through that, I wouldn't be actively looking to short pound USD anymore. As we're invalidating some structure there. So pound USD, nice area of consolidation. At the moment, things are still looking pretty bullish. If I drop to the hourly chart, again, if you could see some rejection at the high there, that could be a nice short maybe this afternoon. But unless we don't get that, then yeah, we might break through there for pound USD. So very, very important to see some sufficient rejection in this area, because there was a pretty strong move to the upside yesterday for pound. Of course, USD did sell pretty hard, but pretty strong move to the upside there for pound. So we need to see some sufficient rejection to tell us that price is coming back down again. Otherwise, it does get a bit awkward. Moving on to dollar CAD, actually. This one dropped very, very hard. So as you can see there, really, really big push to the downside. I was talking about a retest of this range yesterday, but price just came back way, way too hard for that. And yeah, kind of trading back inside that range. So I wouldn't be looking for the retest anymore. Again, the idea of the retest of the range is that we stay above it. We don't break back underneath. That kind of beats the purpose of it. And especially with that such a strong move up, big move down, this to me looks like an inverse V-shaped pattern, which again typically means reversal for price action. If price does have a really strong move to the upside followed by a big move down, typically you do see something like this form, that being an arrow. Excuse the awful drawing, but you guys get what I mean. So it looks like we're getting the characteristics of a inverse V-shaped pattern, pretty much a head and shoulder pattern as well. Yeah, to me, it looks like price could be looking at a tumble over. Of course, we still got a lot of work to do, but if things keep up with that momentum, I wouldn't be surprised if we do start trending to the downside here a little bit for dollar CAD, especially when you take into consideration where we're coming from. On the weekly chart, massive, massive resistance. Once over there, second time over there. And if you look at where we are trading now, we've actually spiked through the highs there. So we've taken out some highs from 2016, which, we haven't done since 2016. So a very, very long time. So major, major resistance. The previous two times we rejected this level, we've had some colossal moves to the downside here. Really, really big moves, aggressive moves as well. So we're coming to an area where, if you're a long-term buyer, and let's say you got into some buys down here, this is where you're looking to take your profits most likely, or at least a good chunk of it anyway. So you could probably anticipate a load of buys taking profits, and of course a load of sellers jumping in, trying to push price down as well. So very, very heavy level of resistance, and taking into consideration the price action we're seeing from it as well, it does look like maybe this could be just a big fake out to the upside, and we could see price potentially start to trend down. So I'll keep a consideration for that $4 CAD in the next few days. In terms of Aussie dollar, really strong move to the upside as well. Again, we talked a lot about this one. I said I'm not really looking to sell this one anymore because things are getting very choppy. We're breaking structure to the upside as we did over here. Then we broke structure to the downside as well. Again, characteristics of a range, or at least the market that isn't trending well. So again, I said yesterday, if price is going to continue the bearish trend, I want to see some really strong evidence of price pushing to the downside. Otherwise, you probably will just push back up here, and we have gone and just filled that gap there for Aussie dollar. So now the Aussie dollar has filled the gap, what's the next move? Well, since there's no kind of clarity with the direction of price anymore, at least here, of course, in the higher time frame thing is still pretty bearish. In terms of the more immediate price action, it is still very choppy. So we might continue to chop back and forth until price makes a breakout, whether it's going to be to the upside or to the downside. Again, we're not a fortune teller, wait and see where price goes. But again, if we are looking to have a bigger pullback, maybe we do break to the upside and we'll look for some pullbacks on the way up there. But for now, it's still pretty much consolidation there for Aussie dollar. So I don't really have too much to say about it whilst we're in the middle. If we can start breaking through the highs again or the lows, then I'll start to talk about momentum and where we could be headed to next. In terms of New Zealand dollar, this one as well, same characteristics as Aussie dollar. We broke the highs there, but also broke the lows there as well. So again, characteristics of a market that is starting to range, starting to chop around. So again, in terms of direction, everything is still pretty bearish as we can see. But however, since we are starting to consolidate now, it might be a situation where we do go through a bit of a counter trend move. Maybe price wants a bit of a breather before continuing later on. I have talked about a few levels which I do like. Talked about the retest of this low, talked about the retest of this area here as well. So maybe it's time to go and retest some of those areas before we do continue bearish. But yeah, strong move to the upside yesterday from that low, filled the gap. Maybe we might see a bit more upside this afternoon, but it is pretty choppy price action there. So not really looking to trade it. In terms of gold and silver, yeah, gold's still pretty bullish yesterday. We talked about gold briefly yesterday as well. I spoke about a couple of areas which I like. These are a bit more intraday areas here, which look good. Price looks like it retested the first level pretty well and created some new all-time highs again. I said I'm still waiting to see if we can get that bigger pullback into 2720, I believe. Yeah, 2720, 25. That area still looks pretty good. It still looks good now as well because we have taken out the all-time highs. I wonder if we will see a bigger pullback now for gold. You know, last time we made those highs, we had a really mad, crazy sell-off there. So I wonder, will we go through something similar again and have a bigger correction? And I could find some areas to take it back up again. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, gold's still very bullish. Still seeing consistent higher highs and higher lows since the low back down over there. So it looks like we're still very much in full flow and could see price drop again just to continue as well. So if you're still looking at gold, I'll still be looking to try and find the next higher low. I think price is pretty consistent with this trend line here as well. So as long as that stays intact, this kind of aggressive trend stays at play. So, you know, pullbacks close to the trend line look like some good buys until we break through. Then we can start to discuss potentially a bigger pullback. Silver, still not the biggest fan of silver. I mean, long-term things do look good still. But again, we're coming to a very choppy area where it's difficult to find some entries in terms of buys. Again, still a very corrective move to the upside here. So still potentially we could still see a sell-off for silver if we are going to see another lower high in comparison to that prior high. So of course the high here, really heavy move to the downside, create new lows. Now we've got this corrective pullback here. Is that potentially going to create another lower high for potentially another big move down? It could be. The way to kind of invalidate that would be breaking structure, taking out that high there on the left. And that will be a strong indication that, okay, we're probably not going to sell off anymore. They're probably going to continue to the upside, and the next major target would be all the way up here at 34.852. So if you can take out the highs there, that'll be brilliant. Then I'll be very much on the silver bullish train, looking for pullbacks, high lows, and so on and so forth, all the way back to 34.852. But at the moment, it's just a bit of a sticky situation in terms of buying right now because we had such a strong drop there. Even though I do expect price to break through, it just doesn't make too much sense in terms of finding entries. Again, if you're on the smaller time frames, you probably get in and out of a trade pretty quickly. But at least from a swing point of view, maybe it's not the most ideal situation or location to find entries. But yeah, very, very bullish in silver long term, looking for a push to the high there. But let's see if we can take out that high there first before looking for longs. But yeah, overall, still pretty bullish on the dollar, but we do need to hold. This area here. If we break through, we might see a lot of weakness. Morning, Ahmed. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Morning, Blessing. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Euro yen, we'll take a look. Lighten, what is up? Good to be back. Glad to have you back. Hope you're well. Good morning, Dark Sean. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. GJ in the 5 minutes. Okay, we'll have a look. See. FX Wolf looking for a sell on Euro yen. Okay, we'll go for Euro yen and pound yen as well. Salman, welcome to the stream. Hope you're good. I'm doing good. Thank you. Thank you. Currently looking at NZK shorts. Okay, yeah, we did see a lot of momentum for that one yesterday. Entry 0.81405 TP. Okay, we'll take a look. I'm pretty bearish on that pair as well, but I'll go through Euro yen and pound yen in the 5 minute first. Then we'll take a look at New Zealand CAD as well. What's up, Matt? Slightly stronger, fresh mind. BTC trade up nearly 4%. Okay, nice. Catching the bottom again. Okay. Bit of a habit now. 100K account. Yeah, I mean, that's essentially it, because you can capture that move with a 1,000 a pound account, USD account, whatever account, or potentially 10 million. It's the same move, really, just of course different lot sizes, different risk involved. Although of course psychologically it's going to be a little bit more difficult to trade with larger accounts, but it's the skill set you want to focus on because you can always obviously replicate that on larger account sizes. But yeah, it's the consistency you want to see, which looks like you're seeing that with Bitcoin at the moment. I have to hold it to the highs. What's your thoughts? Okay, I'll take a look at Bitcoin as well. Investrology, what's up? Hope you're well. US 30. Okay, let me go through Euro yen and GJ quickly. So Euro yen. So yeah, last time we spoke with the yen pairs, things were looking pretty bearish, but looks like we're starting to see some upside. You just clawed back above this low here. And looks like price is just going to fill that gap. Looks like a lot of pairs have filled the gap. USD pairs looks like they've done that. Yen pairs look like they're doing that as well. I think maybe all of them have. We'll double check that, but Euro yen pretty much filled the gap there as well. So with Euro yen, I am still looking for a move to the downside. Again, the long-term bias for me is still very much at play here. Again, the kind of minor price action we see inside of here is not going to really affect my higher time frame bias, as long as we don't kind of break structure majorly like this and see a big break of that. Of course, that would change everything, but up and down in here is not really going to do much to my bias. Still looking at a very large head and shoulder pattern happening, and looking at this kind of as a big bear flag, and looking at a big drop to the downside is still very much the plan. So being patient for that. However, of course, dropping to the low time frames, you can see price breaking above lows again. I think my main focus now is going to be shifted to these major highs here. So you got 1, 2, 3. So for Euro yen, I'll probably be looking at price pushing up to form another one of those, for another push to the downside. So the goal would be to try and catch the fourth for, again, a push back into the low. But if everything goes well, could be back to this low here at 156.5. So yeah, Euro yen still giving us bearish structure. Looked like this was just a fake of that high there, and then price create another lower high to create another lower low. So in my book, we're looking for the next one in that sequence for, again, another push to the low. And like I said, if everything goes well, potentially that low there as well. I'll probably wait for price to at least push to the 0.5 or the 0.618 area before shorting. Since we are getting pretty deep pullbacks here, you can see strong drop to the downside, very deep pullback there as well. Big move to the downside, very deep pullback, probably tagging the 0.786 or even higher as well. So I want price to at least come back into the 0.618 there. I wouldn't mind a retest of this low here as well, retesting that support and resistance. But generally speaking, this is kind of the area which you're looking to short from. I would say around 161.5 would be my area of confluence there. So yeah, pretty bearish on euro yen. Pretty bearish on most yen pairs as well. I know we've seen a lot of upside in the past few hours, but in terms of the market structure, we're still seeing lower lows and lower highs. So the idea is to try and catch another one of those. And yeah, if you can pull back into this area, maybe tag 0.618 as well, that would be nice. And then again, expecting a push back into the low. So yeah, still pretty bearish, still have those high time frame patterns at play. As long as we don't do anything crazy in the next few days, such as, you know, really take up the highs there, which of course is very, very far away. So don't expect that to happen. But looking for the continuation of this bearish structure, which will remain true as long as we don't take up that high. Of course, if we do, then that will invalidate that structure. But for now, lower high still intact, looking for the next one. And again, a push back to where we came from at 158. So that's very much the plan there with euro yen. Yeah, hourly chart looks pretty messy as well. Probably got a bit more upside left in the tank before we do see some downside. If I go to pound yen on the 5-minute chart, let me know what you're looking at, Darker Sean. Okay, so the 5-minute chart is not looking particularly nice. It's very, very choppy. We've seen better price action in recent weeks from the 5-minute chart for pound yen. Really nice downtrends. I remember Dark Sean was trading them. At the moment now, it's still a little bit choppy, but it looks like price is trying to break through the high here. This is a very strong high, big move to the downside, and price looks like it's trying to break through that, although we're kind of still stuck at resistance here a little bit. So yeah, with pound yen, I would prefer the buys with this one, since we had this big consolidation and price has had a really big break to the upside here. So now I'm looking at these higher highs and higher lows. So the low there, the low there, high, higher low, higher high. Again, looking at this as being a higher low, but what I would want to see would be a strong break to the upside of that resistance to give me confidence that, say, okay, the buyers are back in control again. Then I'll be looking at some pullbacks to try and catch the next higher low and take it back to the highs, which could be a setup maybe for the New York session. Again, maybe we do reject this resistance and sell off, but I wouldn't really be interested in getting involved in that until I start to see some confident bearish structure again, which we're a long way away from seeing. I do like the momentum here for the buys, but because we're kind of stuck at resistance, I need to see some evidence of us breaking through that. Then we can start to talk about some pullbacks, maybe a retest of the high there. But something like this would make a load of sense to me, which again could set up during our New York session. So yeah, I'll be looking at some buys there for pound yen. Of course, we need to break through that resistance first. Otherwise, then there is no buy. But I'm not really interested in the sells there. It might be a slight move to the downside. I mean, it could be a heavy move as well. But because we're still seeing really strong momentum there, I like the buys. So yeah, pound yen, I do like the buys, but we need to clear that resistance. So, okay, you're looking to sell, okay, from the resistance. Yeah, that's not a bad move either. I prefer the buys because at least we have some momentum in that direction. I mean, it depends what you're looking for. If you're looking for 70 pips, I think that's your average. Probably find 70 pips, to be honest. Probably find 70 pips. But I like the buys because at least we have a bit more of a trend. I'm always looking to follow momentum, and there is no kind of really momentum to the downside anymore. Hence why I want to see price break the highs and then look to follow that. But yeah, of course, if that resistance does stay intact, you know, shorts will look good. And we just had a nice rejection there on the last 5-minute candle as well. Okay, so I'll take a look at New Zealand CAD, then we'll go over Bitcoin as well, US 30. Ben, what's up? Hope you're doing good. Still bullish on the dollar? Yes, I am still bullish on the dollar. We've still got a nice little zone just underneath us. I'll go through the DXY shortly, but it still looks pretty good for some buys if we can see some rejection. But I'll go through that in a moment. Okay, looking for short-term buys. Okay, let me have a quick look. Short-term buys. Yeah, if you're looking for some short-term buys for Euro Yen, I can get behind that. Again, I'm still looking for the largest swing because I'm primarily looking at the 4-hour time frame. But the hourly time frame, I mean, price action is still pretty choppy as well. It doesn't look that clean, but I would expect to see more upside anyway. And if you're looking for some buys, 160.007. So that's more or less around here somewhere. I mean, I'll probably drop lower in terms of entries to get decent, a better risk to reward. But yeah, I'm not really a big fan of the entries there. I think price action is quite choppy, although I do expect price to push higher. So I do think there would be some buys to take advantage of, but I'll probably drop to like 30 or 15 minute to trade that bias. I think hourly time frame could be good, but your risk to reward might not be the best because as soon as we come back into 161, 161.5, might find some resistance there, which could definitely send price back down again. So I'd watch out for that. Um, okay. Yeah, dollar yen we'll take a look at as well. Actually, no problem. I'll go through a bunch of yen pairs. Let me just go through New Zealand CAD, Bitcoin, US 30. So New Zealand CAD, I'm pretty bearish on this one as well. We had a really strong rejection yesterday. I was debating whether to find some entries off the back of that candle closure. I mean, it happened whilst I was sleeping, but I could have found a re-entry around that area. But it was very, very choppy, so I decided to stay away. But now that we have cleared this low here, things do look very, very bearish. And as long as we maintain that structure, I do expect us to push back into the low here. So I do like NZD CAD. We're still respecting this downwards trending channel here. So connecting these lower highs, one over there, second just about, third, and looking at the fourth. So if we are going to continue in this channel, then naturally we should be ending up back at this low here, which is back at 0.79922. So very, very bearish on New Zealand CADs. We do have bearish structure at play. Really nice momentum in that move there, breaking the lows. So again, the idea would be probably to drop more to the hourly chart and look for some type of correction on this time frame and continuation from that regards. And then, yeah, I'll be expecting a push back to the low. Of course, maybe if you do drop to the hourly, probably not looking for a push all the way down to the low in one move. But I would suggest that yeah, that's the direction you want to be trading in. Might be looking to take your profit a little bit earlier before that. But yeah, very bearish on New Zealand CAD. You're looking for entries at 0.814. Whereabouts is that? So back at this area here, yes, I do like that. Brief consolidation, strong drop to the downside, and TP 0.794. Okay, looking to take it a lot further to the downside, past those lows there. Is that past the daily low as well? Okay, more or less at the wick there. Yeah, so I think that looks good as well. I mean, in terms of the risk reward, the risk reward will be pretty high. So I would advise looking to secure profits along the way. Take some partials or trade a stop loss because the probability of you catching a short from here with a very refined stop loss all the way down there is pretty slim, no matter how good the analysis or the setup is. Really, just the normal fluctuation of the market. You might be in the right direction, but price might fluctuate, take you out for a break even or potentially a loss before seeing that big move as well. So I would advise looking to take some profits along the way or trade a stop loss, however you want to manage it. But yeah, I do expect to see a similar move happen, at least back to the lows there in the next few days there for New Zealand CAD. And in terms of Bitcoin, for Matt, you said you're in a long position, caught the low again. So yeah, price did not mean to do that. Price did pull back into that kind of 92K area, really strong support there in the daily chart, where we've collected so many wicks over the past few weeks. And as you can see on the daily chart, really strong support, but equally we do have strong resistance just above us as well. So with Bitcoin, it pretty much is consolidation. I'm not really looking to do too much forecasting inside the range because it is just very choppy and difficult to guess what the next move will be or analyze what the next move will be. The only areas which make sense to me are down at these lows here or up at the highs here, because I know that that's a sturdy level of resistance, and likewise that's a strong level of support. And the price has just been respecting both areas equally very, very well. So until we start to see a breakout, I'm always going to be expecting those levels to hold. So whether we will see a push back to the high or not, it's difficult to say. It's difficult to say. I mean, I do like the impulsivity of this move here. Very, very strong move to the upside. Two really strong candles, especially after a pretty big move down. We kind of reversed it very strong. So it's almost like a V-shaped pattern. So I would say, yes, I probably would favor more upside for Bitcoin, at least back to the high here. Whether we get back to 107 or the all-time high is, of course, a little bit more difficult, but we could see that. If we do see this move here and it ends up taking out this high, then the chance of us pushing to the high become a lot higher. If we do see a push up and we start to stall, maybe consolidate, then we might break to the downside. So you might want to actively manage it. It looks like we are coming into some support on the left there as well. So maybe we might see the continuation from here as well. But yeah, I'll keep an eye on that high there at 102K roughly. If that breaks, should be in business back to the high. If it respects, yeah, if things do get choppy, of course, we could still break to the upside even if we do consolidate. But I would say it becomes more 50-50 whether we do it or not. But yeah, I would at least expect some upside there. It was a really strong move. If it was like a corrected move up like this, then I wouldn't have much confidence of it continuing. But because it was very strong, I do think we can at least see another move back to the high there. But yeah, I would just say, manage the trade how you plan to. You caught in a nice area. Again, trading is not necessarily about predicting what the market's going to do every step of the way. You have a bias where you want to buy from or sell from. You manage your risks. Where's the trade going to be invalidated? That's where you put your stop loss targets of where you expect price to go. But of course, if it does go there or not, it's not really down to us anyway. So yeah, I think in a nice area, if you enter down at the lows, there's a good chance we do push back to the highs, but of course, not guaranteed. Anyway, we'll go through US 30 next. And then I'll go through DXY. And I'll go through some yen pairs. Dollar yen as well. Only thing that made me looking for sells at this level is that the buy volume faded out. Okay, true. I took the sell on the golfing candle. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, true. That's a good point. The volume is kind of diminishing there for pound yen, which is kind of why I said New York session, because maybe New York session we pick up the momentum and we get that break to the upside. Of course, we could break to the downside as well. But yeah, it makes sense because we are struggling to break through that resistance probably like 2 or 3 times. We've struggled to break through. So yeah, we could see a reaction from that as well. So again, it's a calculated setup. You're entering in a smart area for a sell anyway. Worst case scenario, you take a loss. I'm sure you'll be managing your risk anyway. So if it fits the plan, go for it. Okay, so let me go through DXY. Okay, I'll go through NAS and dollar CHF as well. What's up, Philip? Hope you're doing good. Still buying Euro USD on the swing yesterday. Yes, I remember. Yeah, Euro USD flew to the upside yesterday. Kind of trading stops. Hopefully, the coming news won't favor the dollar. Yes, you take a look at the news. Well, you said you targets above the high, wasn't it? I forget what price it was, but I'll take a look at Euro USD in a moment. So with US 30, then I'll go through the DXY. So yeah, US 30, we had, again, a big gap for this one, which it did fill. Looks like a lot of markets filled their respective gaps yesterday. So US 30, another market which had a big gap at the start of the week, but we've gone and filled that straight away. So US30, really nice rejection of support. I did say that would be nice if price was to come a little bit further down and find some buys off the high there, but looks like we respected that high there well. I did say as well that if you're looking to short, keep an eye on this area since it has been strong support as well. And since we did see a really strong drop there, this is probably an area which is going to hold the resistance. And we've had a nice move down as well. So in terms of US30, I'd say right now, kind of in no man's land. I wouldn't be looking to buy or sell. If price does revisit that same area, there could be a nice short opportunity, maybe come the New York session, although we have to speed up a little bit to get there by then. But I think that's a nice place for a short still. If you look into long, again, you could probably still catch a nice bounce off this area, although because this time we didn't make a higher high, I'll be quite skeptical from the buys here in terms of I wouldn't expect it to go too far before we start to come back down again. And this level on the 4-hour chart still looks like a really nice place for a big swing trade. Price can get there, retest that level. I think that's a really nice place for a swing. Really strong break of structure from this low to that high. Lines up pretty well with the 50. So I think that's still a really nice place for a long-term position for US30. Intraday, I'd say shorts still look good from around 44,600 and probably a push back down to where we came from at 43,800. So that's kind of the plan I'm looking for. If you're looking for a bit more of a swing bias, then yeah, I'd wait for price to come a lot further down. Shorts at the moment do look good intraday, but let's see if we can get back to resistance so we can refine a stop loss and enter in a much better location as well. I'll go through DXY. So yeah, DXY I'm still pretty bullish on as well. It's coming into a nice zone. However, we need to start respecting that zone well. So I kind of want to see price push down a little bit further, start to give me a few more wicks to the downside, maybe a strong bullish engulfing. Likewise on Euro USD as well. But the way I still see it is that we're still on an uptrend. This is our prior swing high. This is the next higher low, next higher high. So again, looking at this as potentially the next higher low. And we had a really strong move to the upside, of course, coming into the week. The price has corrected pretty much all of that. And now we're back at this zone here. And this is the area which gave us that strong push. So coming into strong areas of support, demand, you expect price to hold this if we are going to continue back to the highs. So this is why I want to see some really strong rejection. If not, if we do go and break through this area, then that will pretty much invalidate that bias. I wouldn't necessarily be bearish or bullish necessarily, but I'll kind of just be looking at price action and monitoring it until another clear setup does form. Because if we do break through, then we probably will start to consolidate, maybe form a bit of reversal, but things don't become clear at that stage. So I'd want price to pick up momentum from somewhere. We'll analyze that together as things continue. But for now, we're still testing the top end of that area. So looking to see what type of price action we can get. At the moment, nothing really there just yet, but keeping a close eye for the DXY. Let me quickly go for Euro USD whilst I'm on the topic. So yeah, Euro USD, I'm looking at the opposite as well. Still pretty bearish, looking at push to the low. We've got these lower highs here, 1, 2. I'm looking for the third one. So the same situation as the DXY, coming back into a nice area of consolidation, which of course gave us this move to the downside. Now it looks like price is revisiting that area. If we can respect it, we could see the next high form and a swing back to the low. So pretty much looking at the same thing for both of them. Of course, they do the same thing most of the time because they're so correlated very, very well. So it's always nice to see them both give a similar kind of setup. Means that they're in sync pretty well. So if we can respect that, see some wicks, bearish engulfing candles, that could be a nice entry trigger to sell Euro USD. I know Philip, you said you're not long, but I'm still pretty much bearish bias. If you do go and break through this, then yeah, I would fancy a lot more upside. But we need to break through that first before I'm convinced about more upside there for Euro USD. Okay, so I'll go through the NAS as well whilst I'm on the topic of USD. Then we'll start to go through some of the yen pairs, dollar yen, pound yen, CAD yen, all the yen pairs together, because we've seen some upside for the yen pairs, which are quite interesting. So NAS 100 as well. I'm not a big fan of NAS, to be honest. It's very, very choppy, especially in the 4-hour chart. Price action is absolutely all over the place. You got the highs over there, you got the lows down here roughly, and that is pretty much your range there for NAS. So if you're looking to take any positions, I'll be more focused about trying to get price back at the highs again or back at the lows, because that's where the most probability, that's where the highest probability of a reaction in my favor would be. Anything in the middle, again, not to say you can't find winning trades in the middle of the range, but probability is just a little bit less. It's a lot harder. The chance of you getting wicked out randomly is a lot higher as well. And it's just not really worth it. So with NAS, this is a very, very choppy market right now, at least the current price action on the 4 hour is. Of course, the overall trend is still very much up. So I would rather focus on the buys. So for example, if you can get back down to the low again, this will be a setup I'll be interested in, because if it does play out, number one, we could see a full swing back to the high of the range, but number two, we could catch a breakout here and the continuation of NAS to some new all-time highs and so on and so forth, because again, the overall trend is up. So shorts at the high of the range look okay, but I'd rather take the buys because I know I do have the wind in my sails from the higher time frames. So if things really get going, they can get going. Of course, maybe we do break to the downside as well, but again, the probability of catching that move is far less than catching this move, since we're in the direction of the higher time frames. But yeah, with NAS, it's difficult to say what price is going to do next inside the middle of that range there. I would just kind of stay away, to be honest. I'm not really seeing much clarity in the price action. So yeah, I'd wait for price to push right to the end of the range, around 2,800, and look for some longs along that level, just like we did there, just like we did here, just like we did there as well. So that would very much be the plan. Okay, so I'll go through the yen pairs next. I'll start with dollar yen. So yeah, dollar yen, I've been looking for buys, but price action hasn't really set up how I wanted to. I've been looking for price to go and take out this wick here on the left, but unfortunately, we haven't quite done that yet. We could still do. We are still forming these lower highs here, so I wonder if we could get another drop. I think the yen pairs are looking semi-bullish right now. I'll take a look at the yen basket, see what that's doing as well. But I'm looking for something like this to spike through and then use that for an entry. Of course, waiting for a shift momentum in my favor as well, but the wick is pretty important to the downside. We are still in a nice area of consolidation or demand, depending how you want to call it. Price stopped there for a few hours before really strong move to the upside. And of course, we tapped into that area. We've tapped into that area finally, and of course into the 0.5 of the fib. So connecting that low to the high, you can see price is comfortably testing the 50 of the fib there. So really nice area of confluence. And again, the overall plan is just trying to find the next higher low in this daily bullish structure. So low down there, high, higher low, higher high. And again, we're looking for the higher low. So it's a really healthy area for a buy. Nice confluence. So far, seeing price consolidate as well, which is a nice confluence too, because it means price is respecting support. If price was just bleeding straight through, that of course would be a bit more of a worrying sign for the buyers. But for now, since we're holding support pretty well, it does look like the buyers are doing a good job. But in terms of entry signals that fit the plan, haven't quite seen one yet. But if things do go well, expecting a push back to the high here at 158.5 for dollar yen, and things go very well, as I mentioned before, a swing back to the high there looks very, very possible. Basically just continuing this overall trend to the upside. There's a pretty good chance we do get back to the highs there on the left there. So yeah, dollar yen buys look good. If we don't see that test there, then there might be some more setups higher up. So if we do push to the upside, there could be some more intraday corrections to look for, so on and so forth. So, if you're on an intraday level, keep an eye out for something like that. But you do want to see price start taking out some highs first before you do look for some intraday opportunities there, at least for the buyers anyway. But yeah, very, very bullish on dollar yen, expecting a lot more upside. I spoke about euro yen. In terms of pound yen, I'm very bearish on that one as well. Again, long term, looking for a really big swing to the downside back into these lows. The way I see it, massive swing to the downside, and this is just our big correction. So I do still see price doing this longer term. However, we may push back to the high there first before the sell. In fact, that would be very nice. Should we do that, could be looking at a really big swing for a really good risk reward and really nice, just generally a swing position to look at in terms of location as well. I don't mind some shorts back at the high here. So I'm looking to see what we can do back at 194.5. Again, retest that level there. Looking for some shorts. I have to be careful because price is still putting in numerous higher lows. So we got one back here, second one there, third one over here, a fourth one here, and potentially a fifth one there as well. So we are very steady with these higher lows. So if you're looking to short, there is that possibility of another higher low could form. And of course, say goodbye to your profits if price does push up. So I will be looking to kind of actively manage with that in consideration. Probably move stop loss to break even a little bit quicker or trail a bit quicker. It depends how things set up. But I am looking for some shorts back at that high. So yeah, waiting to see pound yen push up and then looking to see if we can take it down. And if price is a really big move, then I'll be looking for some shorts all the way back at the high here for a sell as well. But again, the idea is I'm looking for a big swing trade. So I want to make sure I'm taking entries at the best places possible. But yeah, very, very bearish on pound yen as well. In terms of CAD yen, this one, again, breaking back above support. We broke through this low yesterday, but now price is back above it. We filled the gap very well too. And this looks like a big V-shaped pattern to me. If I drop to the lower charts there, impulse down, consolidation, impulse back up. I do think we probably will push to the upside there for CAD yen as well. So it does look like CAD yen might be looking to push to the upside too. Again, CAD yen, I'm still looking at a big sell, but I wonder, is price going to push back to the high now since we failed to continue bearish past this low here? Does that mean we're going to get that bigger push to the upside for a sell? Possibly, but yeah, I was looking to see if we can continue that momentum, but unfortunately we didn't. So now I'm kind of favoring more upside now for CAD yen. In terms of a buy, don't really see a setup just yet. I think things are still early doors, still coming back into resistance. We need price to kind of clear that first, but should we, there might be some nice buys following that. So maybe tomorrow we'll speak about some setups there. But in terms of direction, I do think CAD yen's got a high chance to push to the upside now after taking out that low. So yeah, I do still see upside there for CAD yen. Okay, Y Tana, I will take a dollar CHF. I'm just going through some yen pairs. You don't need to spam the chat, otherwise I will have to remove you. But I will get to dollar CHF. So CAD yen more upside. It looks like CHF JPY, however, still does have some nice bearish structure. So if we can continue that, I will still be looking at another lower high and possibly a swing back to that low there, which was so close to testing on Monday, I believe. Yeah, Monday. So as we can see with CHF JPY, equal highs here, broke structure to the downside, lower low, lower high, lower low, another lower high, so on and so forth. So the plan is, again, looking for that next lower high, and that is a really nice consolidation there, where, of course, we consolidate for a few days before a really strong move to the downside. And now price can potentially go and test that area for some shorts back into 168.425. So if we can see a bit more upside, which looks like we probably are, this looks like a nice place to short CHF JPY. If, of course, we do break to the upside and break through that high there, then, of course, that will invalidate that bearish structure. And that might mean a lot more upside for Swiss yen. At that point, I'll probably leave it alone because we're still forming higher lows here. Equally, we're still forming lower highs here as well. So things do get just a little bit choppy and a bit indecisive if we don't respect that area there as well. So yeah, with CHF JPY, structure still looks good for the time being. But yeah, we are coming to an area where I do want to see us form that next lower high and look for some shorts. So yeah, we'll keep a close eye on that for CHF JPY. In terms of Aussie yen and New Zealand yen, these guys are still consolidating a lot. So yeah, looks like we've kind of faked the low out again. So if we can break the high of the consolidation now, because typically if price fakes the low, it does mean we're probably going to push back the high now. So again, for Aussie yen, we're probably going to see some upside here, back to the high end of the range in 98.5. So if we can break to the upside, there could be some really nice buys to follow. Again, like I've said a million times, I'm not looking to trade inside the middle of the range. That's not really where I see the value in this price action. If we can break the high and look for momentum outside of that, that becomes something I will look to take advantage of. Likewise, if we broke the downside and saw some continuation in that momentum, I'll be looking to sell as well. But now it looks like we just faked the low. So yeah, expecting a push back up again to the high end of the range. But again, the goal is still looking for either a break to the upside back into 102 or a break to the downside back into 90. It looks like we're not going to get that break to the downside anymore. So next guess is a break to the upside. In terms of New Zealand yen as well, again, same situation. I dropped to the 4-hour chart. Lovely consolidation. Looks like we're breaking to the downside with the gap from this week. However, it hasn't quite amounted to that. Price is now back above that area. So again, looking for a push to the upside next few days. This is the high of the consolidation. Probably going to make our way back to 89.300. If then we can break the consolidation, that would be fantastic. Again, looking for continuation after that. And then, of course, targets back to the high make a load of sense. If we did break the downside, then I would have been looking for a push back to 83. But unfortunately, we didn't get that either. So, yeah, nothing really to report on there apart from the big fake outs. And yeah, because of that, it's I appreciate that, Ben. Yeah, guys, I will get to the pair as that you do request. It might take some time because, of course, there isn't many markets to go through, but I will get to eventually. No need to spam. But yeah, yen pairs looking pretty bullish again. Some are looking better than others, but especially for Aussie New Zealand yen, looks like we just faked the ranges there. So they're probably going to see a lot more upside. Okay, so I will go through I'll go through dollar CHF next, and I'll take a look at NVIDIA for Ben as well. Matt, currently adding 2 positions from the current level. Is that for what position was that for again? Okay, that was for the Bitcoin as well. Okay. Yeah, I think it's at a nice place. You can probably see some nice upside from there. But it's just because Bitcoin's been ranging all over the shop. But it was a good recovery, I have to admit. Yesterday for Bitcoin, really strong move to the upside. And a few cryptocurrencies did see a lot of upside. However, because the drop was so big, it's kind of just a bit chaotic. But yeah, in terms of dollar CHF, again, still trading at major resistance. So I'm still pretty much bearish on this pair. Even though I'm bullish on the DXY, I can't be looking to buy dollar CHF because, of course, we're coming to very strong weekly resistance here. So we could really see a really big move to the downside for dollar CHF. And looks like maybe price has formed a really big double top here. And we've gone and filled that gap there as well. So many pairs. I think every market we've looked at so far, the gap has been filled from the weekend. So yeah, very high success rate there. So the market's filled that gap there really strongly to the downside. If this is going to be a big double top, then of course, this being our neckline, this would need to go. And then the next pullback after that will be something to look at, which is a bit more of a swing position. If you're a bit more intraday, because of course that'll take some time to develop. If you're a bit more intraday, there could be some shorts in the meantime, kind of trying to ride that momentum. It is still very corrective, so I'll probably suggest maybe drop into like the 15-minute chart for some sells, because if I drop to the 15, there's some nice, lower lows and lower highs we can work with. So again, we could see another one of those form. But of course, things are looking a bit corrective as we do approach these prices, because There's a lot of chaos, a lot of choppiness in that area, so I don't expect to see clean bearish structure in this area anymore. But we are still seeing lower lows and lower highs. So if you're on the lower time frames, I would keep an eye for those shorts, more specifically the 50-minute chart. I do expect us to eventually get back to the low here. If this is actually going to be a big double top and price is going to reject that weekly level, then there's a pretty good chance we do get back to that low at 0.896. But yeah, if you're looking for more of a swing position, you could have either tried shorted at the double top or wait to see if we can break the neckline and look for the next pullback afterwards. And again, we could be seeing a pretty big move if we are going to get a big rejection. If I go to the weekly chart, you can see that 2 prior times we did reject this level. We saw really big moves, all the way back down to this area here. Could we see that again? Potentially. So there is a lot of downside should price really want to see it. So yeah, that's kind of my take on dollar CHF. Looking for more downside. The only way I'll be bullish on dollar CHF is that we do break the resistance. Then I'll speak about the buys, but of course, we are nowhere near that at the moment. Things still look very bearish. Okay, I'll take a look at NVIDIA. Now I'll take a look at the yen basket. I forgot to go through that. So, okay. So last time I had a look at this one, we were trading over here. I was talking about the lower highs. I think I said if we break through support here, shorts back to that low, but we didn't. We respected, and we actually broke out that trend line. Of course, that took us back to the high there as well. Since then, we had a lot of consolidation, and looks like we've just had a massive gap and broken that consolidation to the downside there. So yeah, imagine holding trades overnight with stocks. There's a huge gap there. Anyway, so again, in terms of the overall trend, it's very, very much up for NVIDIA, very, very much up. And we're coming back into an area where, again, we could find potentially another higher low and see some upside. So even though we have broken out that consolidation, I would say as we approach the areas here on the left, I would actually be expecting the price to push back up again. It might just be to retest the range before continuing back down. That could be the case, but I think in the more short term, buys do look good from this area. Probably wait to see some evidence on the hourly chart of that happening, though. Maybe some double bottoms. At the moment, we're still breaking lows. So I'd like to see if price can find some support first before buying. But then if you're looking to short, this is still not a bad area for it as well. So yeah, some upside for some downside is kind of what I'll be looking at for NVIDIA. Yeah, minus 18%. That is crazy. I'll find it very difficult to try and hold trades overnight there or over the weekend because you just don't know how big of a gap it will be, and yeah, that is punishable there. So it's either you're gonna look to invest in it and you're just gonna buy and hold, or you're gonna be actively day trading. I think it's either or. I think swing trading, of course, you can do that as well, but you want to have a decent room in your stops. You can't do anything like refined entries for a swing trade. Like have like very, very tight stop loss, trying to maximize your risk reward. Of course, it makes sense, but if you find an entry and then there's gaps down here, then you're going to be stuck in a bit of a sticky situation there. So I'll probably have some decent size of my stop loss to take that into consideration. Therefore, even if I do get gapped, it probably won't be too bad. But yeah, like I said, it's either you're like investing in this one or you're actively day trading, closing the trade by the end of the day or the end of the trading hours. Because yeah, these gaps are too. Yeah, look at that gap there. I mean, you probably would be buying, but if you were selling, you'd be cussing. So yeah, very, very huge gap. Exactly, 50% of your account get wiped over. Yeah, 100%. 100%. I mean, we were talking about that yesterday quite a lot because, of course, Euro USD had a massive gap. I think it's one of the biggest gaps we've seen for Euro USD for years. I mean, I was looking back over the chart. I think I spotted one of maybe a similar size back in 2017. So, and that's like 8 years ago. So, it's been a long time since Euro USD gapped that big. So again, anyone holding any positions overnight, especially with a very tight stop loss, you definitely would have been starting the week off not particularly great, which is why you got to manage your risk. Because again, if you're risking 1, 2, 3%, if it does gap against you 3x, it's not the end of the world. You can recover back from that. But if you had a stop loss of 50% of your account size, that gap is definitely blowing your account 100%. So that's why he's always got to take risk into consideration. Of course, you're not going to get gaps like this every week. Like I said, the last big gap from me eyeballing it was roughly 8 years ago. Of course, there are the gaps in the market. I'm not saying Euro USD doesn't gap. There's a gap there as well. But one of that size hasn't happened for a very, very long time. All you have to do is just look back through price action, especially Euro USD. Of course, other markets will gap a bit more, other FX markets. I mean, probably say that's a pretty big gap there back in 2022, to be honest. But yeah, we don't gap many. So yeah, very, very nasty gap. Yeah, dollar CAD gap 200 pips as well, and dollar CAD doesn't move like 200 pips casually. 200 pips on dollar CAD is a very, very big move. That's like a yen move. So anyone shorting dollar, I bet there were so many people shorting as well dollar CAD. Because if you look at the retail sentiment for dollar CAD, prior to the weekend, so prior to the market closing, I can almost guarantee you there'll probably be like 80% retail traders short at the highs here. 100%. Because typically retail traders will go against, overextended moves. If the market's moved to the upside for a while, most retail traders will be looking to try and short that, try and anticipate a move back down. Which again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that you have to know what you're doing and time it well. So I just know majority of retail traders will be shorting this. So the fact that it gapped all the way over there would have blown so many accounts and so many big losses. But then the annoying thing is that it came straight back down right afterwards. So yeah, the market can be unforgiving like that sometimes. Which again, manage your risk. There's nothing wrong about shorting dollar CAD here if it fits your plan well, fits your confluences, and you do get gapped. But if you had your risk measured, maybe you end up losing 2 or 3x your usual loss, which again isn't ideal, but you can recover that. It's the same to taking 3 losses in a row potentially, taking that bigger loss there, which again, not ideal, but recoverable. But if you're just shorting on a whim, not really managing your risks, you could get punched big time. last time Trump was in power. Yeah, that's what I said as well yesterday. I think now that Trump's in power, we could be seeing a lot more volatile moves and more frequent gaps in the market, especially over the weekend as well. If Trump says something dodgy over the weekend, the market's going to be on fire on Monday. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I think overall it's a positive because the market's a bit more volatile. You see moves quicker. But of course it can be a negative if you're not kind of making sure you're managing your risk and you know what you're doing. Because of course everything with volatile markets, it just accelerates your success or your demise quicker, really. So yeah, if you're not fully prepared, it will definitely punish you. But to be honest, if it's kind of like volatile markets where it's just like up and down like this and just everywhere, then of course that helps no one unless maybe you've got a strategy around that. But for me, of course, I'm looking for momentum, corrections, momentum. That's what I'm looking for. So trends essentially. If it's just kind of momentum up and down, kind of like the consolidation here, then that doesn't really do me any good anyway. So kind of hoping we see a bit more clarity with that. But yeah, really, really big moves over the weekend. But it looks like most markets have kind of filled the gap, to be honest. I think let me quickly go through the CHF pairs. I think they've filled their gaps as well. Pound CHF did there. Euro CHF. I mean, Euro CHF looks like it's just about retested that support level, but didn't really fill the gap completely. Yeah, New Zealand CHF did it as well. Aussie CHF did it as well. So yeah, looks like most markets have done. I think most USD pairs done. JPY pairs have. CHF pairs as well. I don't really think the crosses gap too much. Euro pound, I think we gapped a little bit. Yeah, okay, we haven't filled that either. Pound Aussie. Yeah, that one didn't really gap anyway. Well, it did, but it filled it straight away. Yeah, same with that one. So yeah, it looks like most gaps are filled. The USD JPY CHF had the biggest gaps, and they're filled. Ben, January's pretty slow, to be honest. I only took a few positions. So yeah, January's pretty slow. Don't really have many setups, to be honest. Actually, I did have a few on forget which pair, but it happened silver. But it happened during my sleeping hours, unfortunately. So I missed a couple of those positions. Would have been some big winners actually, because if I did catch it, I think this was actually just before, 2nd of Jan. If I did catch it, then, I mean, depends how I trailed it. I probably would have trailed myself probably out either at the low here, or if I was being a little bit more aggressive, then I probably would have had it there and probably still holding to the position now. So, yeah, unfortunately missed that position, but otherwise took a couple break evens and a couple losses on Euro CHF and Aussie CAD as well. So yeah, pretty slow start to Jan, but hoping we can pick up the pace. I mean, normally from Feb onwards is when I do start to see better trades form anyway. Jan is always kind of picking up the pace as we pick up from the vacation holidays of December. So kind of Feb, March is a really nice period. Summer for me is actually not a bad period as well. And then I'll probably say like October, November, and kind of early December is a good period as well for me. All right, take care, my man. Have a good one. Hopefully, catch you on the next stream. If you guys are enjoying the stream, by the way, please be sure to drop a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and of course, make sure you do go and hit the bell as well, so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. If you haven't done it already as well, check out the Elevating Trades Discord channel, completely free to join. Link to that in the description below. Share ideas there. Of course, other people do as well. And of course, if you're looking to find out a little bit more about elevating traders, you can find out a lot more information on the Discord as well. So go check it out if you haven't done so already. But do appreciate everyone who has liked and subscribed to the channel. Anyway, I'll go through the CAD pairs and then we'll take a look at some of the crosses as well. Of course, if there's any particular pairs or any particular time frames you do want me to take a look at, because of course, by default, I'm going to spend most of my time on the 4-hour chart. But I will, of course, look at the daily and hourly occasionally. But if you do want me to look at lower time frames, like 50-minute chart, let me know as well, and I'll take a look. But in terms of the CAD pairs, I think we've seen a lot of momentum to the downside. New Zealand CAD, we spoke about that briefly at the start of the stream. I'm pretty bearish on this one. Really strong candle closure there on Monday. If I go to the daily chart, you can see really strong candle closure there, kind of engulfing all that price action. And again, right at the top of that channel there as well. So in my book, it does look like price is probably going to keep pushing down. So the goal would be to look for some pullbacks, probably more on the hourly chart with this one. And then again, looking to ride that back down into the lows there at 0.8, big psychological level there as well. And of course, our prior swing low. So there's a good chance price does get there. But yeah, to me, it looks like New Zealand CAD is likely going to continue to sell off. Aussie CAD, which of course is a similar pair to New Zealand CAD, very, very similar, of course. I'm going to do the same thing most of the time. Ping, yep, I'll take a look at pound USD. I've got a couple of CAD pairs to get through, and I'll go through pound USD for you. So yeah, Aussie CAD, I'm looking for some downside as well. Looks like this one's formed another double top as well. So a big push to the upside. This is where we had our gap. So we kind of gapped into a double top, more or less. Now it's like price is just going to broke through that neckline or that double top pattern there. So if I drop to the hourly time frame, we might see a bit of a correction to test that area with all of these wicks here. Use that to advantage and then potentially sell off from there. And if that does play out, again, similar to New Zealand CAD, looking for a push back into our swing low, which is back down there at 0.88500. So pretty bearish on Aussie CAD. And again, reason for that, you can look to the left, so many lower lows and lower highs here, very, very consistent with that. We did have this trend line here, which we kind of broke through, but looks like price is breaking back underneath. So yeah, it looks like potentially kind of faked it a little bit. Now price is respecting it again. So looking for a push to the downside. These are our major lower highs, one over there, second, and looks like this might be our third. And if that is so, then yeah, 0.885 is likely where we're probably going to end up. In terms of pound CAD, this one's looking pretty bearish as well. Yep, nice reaction to the downside. I did say on the weekly analysis as well, I probably will go and fill the wick there since we kind of just spiked into a level of resistance from afar. Typically, when price does that, we do have a level of resistance or support in the market and we wick into it from afar. It normally does lead to price filling the wick, retesting that zone slightly deeper and then reacting. And that's kind of what we're seeing price doing right now, which is a big wick into the zone. We filled the gap. Of course, not filled the gap. Sorry, we filled the wick. We did go and fill the gap, but we filled the wick with a gap, funny enough. And then we've had a strong move to the downside from that. So I did say on the weekly analysis as well in terms of targets, because essentially pound CAD is ranging. So we've got equal highs there, equal lows back here. And I'll probably just look at taking price back to the 50 if I was looking to trade this one, which is around there. I would say that's kind of more or less what I have my targets, because I know there's a good chance price does get to the 50. And of course, you can always leave some positions to run just in case we do see that full swing to the low. But yeah, really steady resistance for pound CAD, multiple rejections, another one there as well. So in my book, it looks like we're probably going to end up back at that 50. And maybe if we break through, we can talk about a push to the lows there. But yeah, for now, pound CAD looking very bearish, and looks like Euro CAD is doing the exact same. So again, came back into resistance as well. Did we fill the wick? Okay, this one didn't quite fill the wick. So pound CAD, we did see price fill the wick, then shoot down. Euro CAD, we didn't quite fill the wick before pushing down. So didn't quite happen there, but we are looking pretty bearish as well with a very strong push to the downside. So similar to Aussie CAD, looks like we're putting another double top here, breaking through the neckline. So again, if you're looking to trade Euro CAD, I'd be focused on taking some shorts for this one. So something like this, a correction, lower high, maybe even the retest of that broken support there, which would be flipped resistance, and that could be a nice short, at least back into the low where we came from. EuroCAD isn't necessarily trending market, so I wouldn't say I'll be looking to try and swing it back to this low here. I think we could get there, but it's a bit of an aggressive trade. So I would strongly suggest in terms of taking your partials along the way. If you look at the bigger picture for EuroCAD, what is price doing? It's pretty much just flat. So taking shorts, all buys, you probably want to be a bit more conservative with your targets, because the chances are price is going to revert back on itself at some point. So we could end up back at that low. I mean, it's a really solid rejection, really strong daily candle closure as well. So the daily looks like it's rejecting that level very well. So the likelihood of us pushing to the downside is pretty high. However, I wouldn't be too surprised if we do push down for a few days just to put a higher low in and push back up again, kind of like a continuation, of these high lows here. So there is that possibility. So yeah, if you're looking to target that low, I would suggest taking some partials or trading stop loss along the way, and don't just look to trying to hold on completely to that low and leave yourself exposed a little bit. But yeah, EuroCAD looks like we're going to see some downside as well. So EuroCAD, Pound CAD, Aussie CAD, New Zealand CAD, all those CAD pairs I'm very bearish on. Dollar CAD as well, I'm very bearish on as well. So it looks like, according to my analysis anyway, I'm expecting some upside for CAD. At least the technicals are pointing in that direction. So yeah, pretty bearish in that regard. Okay, I'll go through Pound USD for ping. Darkshire and GJ picked up the pace a bit, stop loss a break even. Okay, nice. I'll take a look at that one in a second. Veron, what entry you take before entry? So yeah, in terms of my entries, it's always I'm looking for a shift of momentum, and that mostly comes 90% of the time in terms of a bullish engulfing or a bearish engulfing candle. I do like to see wicks as well. The combination of the two can be a very, very powerful pattern, especially if you can wick through support and then form a bullish or bearish engulfing candle above that. So, of course, for support, bullish engulfing, but resistance, bearish engulfing. So, typically, my entries would be, let's say, if you got a level of support, which I'm looking to buy from, I would like price to kind of wick through that. More wicks, the better. And then, of course, give me a nice engulfing candle pattern. So let's say that's a prior engulfing candle. And of course, this was our bearish candle coming back down. Just for descriptive sake, let's make that, oh, that's the border. Let's make that red. And of course, let's make that green. So that's typically what I want to see in my entries. A really nice wick piercing through the level. It would be nice if it pierces through a prior low as well. But then, of course, a strong shift in momentum, which is just a normal standard bullish engulfing candle, which, of course, closes above the prior high of the previous candle. And typically, that's what my entries look like most of the time. Sometimes it can be like a variation of candlesticks to create a bullish engulfing, but that's mostly what I'm looking at for my entries. 10 more pips to the downside, and we'll drag stop loss to 20 pips in profit and let it run, see if it hits my 70 pip target. Okay. I'll go through Pound USD, then we'll take a look at that GJ position for Darkshon. So Pound USD. So yeah, Pound USD, as I was looking for some shorts for this one, I still am. However, price action hasn't been that great to come back into this consolidation, which of course is where we gapped from at the start of the week. So really strong move down. Price has since gone and filled that. So the plan has been looking for a retest of this for some more downside. However, price action isn't looking that clean anymore. So if price can get back to the high and respect that well, especially if we can move up correctively and see a strong rejection, that could be a nice short on the hourly chart. And if things go very well, can even look to swing it back to that low there as well. So I would suggest keep an eye for shorts there for Pound USD. If we do go and break through this area, then I would consider the double top here for a short, and that would be my last kind of area which I would consider for shorting. We do have a really nice level of support, which is going to be turned, oh, still green, which we turn resistance there. So looking to see if we can respect that area at 1.25. If we break through that, then I'll probably not change my bias, but become a bit more neutral there on pound. So yeah, looking for some shorts. I have to say price action is not looking particularly great. I think I probably would rather to see price break to the upside and find some shorts at the high there, especially from a swing point of view. So I'll be looking for entries on the 4-hour chart, and that will give me at least a good entry with a decent stop loss where the risk reward makes sense back into the low. So yeah, if you're looking at the lower time frames, we are in a nice area there for some shorts. If we do break a little bit higher, I'll consider the double top there. But I am still looking for a swing back into the low £4 USD. What's up, Manzondi? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Okay, Divine, I will do one. I have done a video on entries before, but I could probably do another one. So yeah, I'll probably do another one. If you go to my Forex education playlist, there's a bunch of videos there, but I will be sure to create another one. What's up, Chris? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Ian, no problem. Could you please have a look at the DAX? Okay, I'll take a look at the DAX as well. Okay, so I'll quickly go through GJ, see how Darktron's doing there. Then I'll go through the DAX as well. Let's drop to the 5 minute. Okay, so yeah, okay, we've had a nice reaction there. So this is the resistance you've been shorting from, and you said you looked to, I think you entered on that bearish candle, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, nice move to the downside, some momentum there as well. So yeah, again, really strong rejection. You said you think you moved stop loss to break even as well. I think 70 pips from 70 pips from that candlestick. There's probably around about here-ish. So probably about halfway to the target, more or less, or halfway-ish to the target there. So yeah, it's pretty nice move. Of course, seeing a bit of upside now, but in the grand scheme of things, we've seen a nice drop. And since you've already managed the trade, worst case scenario, price does push back to break even. Still a nice push, and we may come back for another retest. So yeah, we'll see if that momentum does continue. There's been a nice move there, really strong rejection off that high. Might see price continue to tank there. So hopefully we do continue. I'm still looking to see if we can break to the upside, but again, that might not happen until late into the New York session. So your trade will be most likely well and done by then. But we'll see if we can see a bit more downside. But yeah, nice reaction. Let's see if that continue. Hopefully it does. It goes and hits your target. I will go take a look at the DAX. If I have missed out a market, someone has requested, just let me know in the chat again. But I'll go to take a look at the DAX next. What's up, Antonio? Afternoon. Hope you are well. Welcome. So yeah, in terms of the DAX, okay. So you've had a bit of a correction there. Last time I looked at the DAX, I believe we're just creating new highs. That was last week, Thursday, I think. And we opened up pretty bearish for the week, and we're trying to claw our way back. This almost could be looking like a bit of a head and shoulder pattern here, actually. So of course you got the left over there, the head, and possibly forming the right shoulder there. But yeah, in terms of the DAX, I'm still very bullish. I think this is looking like a really nice area for a swing position. Similar to what we did over here, massive break, retest, and of course we flew to the upside from that. I think the DAX would be looking very, very pristine if you can get a retest of that area as well at 2,500. However, we're nowhere near there. So in terms of the current price action, I think shorts from here do look good. It's of course a bit aggressive, reason being not with the trend. It doesn't matter how good an opportunity is. The fact it's against the trend, of course, lowers the probability of it playing out. Just in terms of statistics, if you're with the trend, there's a great chance price does continue that direction rather goes against you. Of course, I'm not saying that if you just trade with the trend, you will have a really high win rate. There's more to it than that, but just in general, if you're with the trend, you've got a great chance of the trade playing out than going against it, especially when the trend is as strong as what the DAX is doing right now. So I do like the shorts here, but I would just be pretty aggressive in terms of the way I'm managing it. And of course, we do have a steady level of support here, so that probably would be the target for the trade. If you're looking for a bit more conservative opportunity, you could wait for price to break through and then start to look for some opportunities underneath that level. So this would have a slight, this will have a higher probability of playing out because at least we've got some bearish structure in our favor. We're breaking through support as well. So there's more reasons for price to continue falling than the shorts here, because we could just very much break through that high and then off we go, create some new highs for the DAX. So yeah, I do think it's probably time for the DAX to retrace. We've had some really wicked move to the upside. I think the market's a bit overstretched, hence that massive bearish candle coming into play. Shorts do look good back at the high here. Of course, a bit more of an aggressive trade. This not as so, and this still looks like a really nice swing for a buy. So that's kind of how I'll be looking at the DAX. And if you do break through resistance here, if you do drop to the lower time frames, let's say the hourly chart, probably even drop lower. If we do break through this area here, there could be some nice pullbacks intraday to ride the DAX back to the higher there as well. So if this level doesn't hold and breaks through, probably looking at a nice break and retest or a higher low of some sort to take it back into the high. And if you're looking for some shorts, then that low looks pretty good as well. So yeah, that's kind of really where I'm at for the DAX. We're coming into a decent level of resistance here on the 4-hour chart. If it does break, it's probably going to take us back to the highs. So pullbacks will look good after that. Okay. Looking for the jobs report because doing this stopped out on gold, pound, US trades. Okay, fair enough. Are you currently, what are you doing with gold and pound USD? Let me have a quick look at the news. We do have NFP this Friday. Yeah, we do, don't we? Okay, so news today. Yes, we do have jolts this afternoon at 3 o'clock UK time, that is. So US session. So if you are trading USD, do you want to keep an eye on that, especially for especially for USD. We do have end of the unemployment rates in the evening as well. Aussie PMI as well, right at the end of the day. So if you are looking to trade Aussie and New Zealand dollar, I would keep an eye on that. Wednesday we have quite a few Euro news. There's JPY PMI. We've got Spain, French, Italy, Euro, pound. A lot of PMI in the morning. And then Wednesday afternoon, we got ADP employment change for the USD as well. PMI for USD, PMI for Canada in the afternoon. Then Thursday, Swiss unemployment rate, Euro retail sales. Bank of England interest rate decision. I forgot about that. That is Thursday at 12. Rates expected to drop by 0.25% there. So might be seeing a bit of a weak pound on Thursday. I'm looking to short pound USD, so that could play into my hands, but need to see if I get a setup before then. But yeah, we do have Bank of England on Thursday. Then, of course, we do have NFP on Friday. Do we? Yeah, we do, at 1:30. Employment rate as well. So yeah, it's a pretty big week, to be honest, with NFP and the Bank of England. Of course, you have some other news to consider as well. Jolts, PMI for pretty much every currency pair. So you do want to keep an eye on that. But the two main ones I'll be focusing on would be the Bank of England and NFP. But yeah, a bunch of news to look out for. Anyway, let me go through the crosses. So in terms of the crosses, I don't think we're going to get setups for these ones. Pound Wednesday, I was looking for a long. Unfortunately, didn't see a retest of that area I was looking to trade from, which is the retest of the consolidation there. Price did just miss that level. It didn't just miss it. It missed it by quite far. And it was looking pretty bearish at the end of the last week, but it just didn't continue in my favor, unfortunately. And yeah, price has been looking pretty bullish since then. So I do expect to see more upside for this one. I'm looking at the higher time frames, and price has been so consistent with the higher lows. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over there. So I mean, this is not confirmed yet, but it looks like it could be on its way to being confirmed. And of course, if we do get back to the high, that would be our higher low. So the goal for pound NZD is to try and follow the trend. And since the trend is very much up, it would be looking for the buys here. And I would say, I mean, I did suggest yesterday that the retest of this area would be a nice buy, which we just about got. I mean, a bit of an awkward time though, because that's like 9, 10 o'clock. So that's when the daily candle's closing. So not the best time to be looking to enter trade, especially intraday as well. Spreads be widened right at the end of the day, especially for me, because that's when I'm about to go to bed. So we'll be able to manage the position. But PA's PA did play out pretty well. So it looks to me that we're having a bit of a correction here. Maybe we do push the downside one more time, which would be nice. Maybe later today, and that could end up being a nice position. If we do have a big correction, then that is still something I'm going to consider for some longs. In terms of pound Aussie, again, pretty much the same situation as pound NZD. This one I wasn't really concerned about in terms of entering trades because the consolidation was very far away. Pound NZD looked a lot better, so I was more focused on that one. Again, with pound Aussie, if I go to the higher time frames, again, same situation, very consistent with these high lows. So the goal is to continue that to the upside, back to the high. But yeah, but we didn't really see price develop too much there. So hopefully, I mean, yeah, it's not as clean. Pound did a much cleaner retest of the high. It did bounce, but didn't give us much. But similar characteristics in terms of that bull flag. We probably will see price push on as well, but not looking as good as pound NZD. So I'll probably just focus on that one. If you're looking for setups on the hourly chart, something like that would look good. Retest that area and possibly the continuation. In terms of Euro NZD and Euro Aussie, I think these guys are still consolidating. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, they're still consolidating. So not much to report on. Yes, Henry, I'll take a look at Bitcoin for you. Two shakes. Just need to go for Euro Aussie and Euro NZD. So yeah, we're still testing a major level of resistance and still consolidating at that area. So as I said yesterday and last week as well, if we can see a solid break to the downside, so a solid close below, that'll be a signal to us that says, okay, we probably are going to see some downside now, and a push back to the low looks pretty likely because momentum shifted, prices definitely rejected the high there, so we're likely going to sell off. If we do break to the upside, then the next area we're probably going to get to is the high there at 1.704, which is that level of resistance. So either which way, there's probably a nice trade to take. Let's say if we do break to the upside, pullbacks afterwards do look moderately good. I mean, again, it's not necessarily we're trading a confident trend here. It's more kind of just if one level breaks, you expect it to get to the next one, so on and so forth. So that's really what we're looking at here. But again, a nice correction like this looks good, and a push back to that low. So that's really what I'm eyeing up for Euro Aussie. In terms of Euro NZD, then I'm pretty much looking at a similar thing as well, but more focused with the sells. Since we're right at the top of this range here, there isn't really a level above us, which I'm looking at and kind of see where we're trading right at the top of a major range here. We've got some really clean support below us there as well. There's our consolidation, waiting for price to break to the downside. And then if we could get some pullbacks, there's a good chance we do see a swing to the downside. And like I said yesterday as well, I'll probably just look at the 50% of this range, since it's a massive range in the daily chart. I don't think many of us would be looking to try and aim all the way down to these lows for a winning trade there. But if you can get it to the 50, which is more or less around here, again, just using the fib as a rough guide for 50% of the range, this area here looks like a nice place to target. More or less, the market always does get there. You can see bounce, we get there, bounce, we get there, bounce, we get there, bounce the high, we get there. So if you respect the high there's probably a good chance we do get back to 1.794 there. So yeah, pretty bearish on pound UNZD. But of course, the signal we're waiting for is the strong break of the consolidation to get the ball rolling, which we haven't got yet. So keep an eye out for that. I'll take a look at Bitcoin for Henry. Let me know what you're looking at for Bitcoin. Again, Bitcoin to me just is a market which is just ranging as well. Not much to report on apart from a solid rejection of that low yesterday. I mean, it was a strong impulse to the upside, so I do like that aspect about it. It wasn't like an ordinary retest of a level of support. Price really shot to the upside aggressively. So it does have the indication that we probably will see a bit more upside for Bitcoin. But then again, what does that mean? More upside for Bitcoin as we approach a major resistance, which we're still struggling to break through. We could, sell off right back down again. So the key thing we're really waiting for to get Bitcoin rolling is the break of 107, 108K, or even the break of this low here. Because if you do break for that support, then I'm expecting a bigger pullback into this area, which could then end up giving some really nice buy opportunities later on a massive kind of break and retest, catch the new swing low, and so on and so forth. Could be a big trade there. But right now for Bitcoin, it's just fluctuating. It's just ranging between 108K and 90K roughly. So I need price to break out of that. If you can break to the upside wicked, that'd be great. Probably see the next, a breakout, next momentum, next bull run there. And in terms of targets, I've spoken about 120K as probably the next big target for Bitcoin. Since we're kind of trading around the 110 mark there, I think we got to 109,500 roughly. So more or less we're in that 110 area. So the next big level for me, next big cycle level at least for me would be 120. So that's kind of the next target there for Bitcoin. But yeah, I'm still very bullish. Again, just looking at the higher time frames, specifically the weekly chart, it's a very, very bullish chart here. Even if you do break to the downside, it just looks like a pullback, a healthy correction for price to continue, and just looks like another kind of pause before we do continue higher. So yeah, very bullish on Bitcoin. Just not really looking to trade inside the range because of all the noise. Let me have a quick look at Ethereum whilst I'm on the topic, and then I'll go through a couple more of the crosses and some of the CHF pairs as well. So Ethereum was actually pretty impressive. It actually pulled back all the way up because this was a very bearish candle at one stage yesterday. But by the end of the day, price actually pulled all the way back up and actually closed bullish. I mean, it's pretty much a doji, but pretty impressive that it actually closed bullish. Now, price just came back from a really strong level of support, which was actually a nice place to buy from, because if you do expand, actually go to the weekly chart, this is a really big level of support on the weekly chart. Since last time we were here, we consolidated for a few days, had a really big move to the upside back into resistance. So if you're looking for a long-term position for Ethereum, I would say this is probably a really nice place to find a buy and look to see if you can swing it back to the highs there. I mean, from a risk-reward point of view, that's around 2,200. You got all-time highs just shy of 5K. So if you were to just hold a position there, you're pretty much doubling your money back to the high there. So I think a risk-reward makes a lot of sense. Of course, from a trading standpoint, things still look pretty choppy, and I'll be very careful of this area here just above us because we could very much sell off from there as well. We've been very consistent with these lower highs, the double top there, and then we formed a lower high after that shortly over there, another one there as well. So I wonder if we're going to form another one. So from a trading standpoint, although really nice rejection from a nice level, As soon as we approach back to this area here again, I think there's a good chance we form another lower high and possibly another sell, and we actually go and fill that wick to the left. So could be a sticky situation there for Ethereum as well. I think Ethereum and Bitcoin both need some momentum from somewhere to get the ball rolling. Otherwise, Bitcoin's going to remain in the range. I think Ethereum is going to continue to trend to the downside and see these lower highs and just keep falling. But that's the thing with crypto, because out of nowhere, they could just be absolutely flying again, just like what we had here. Price was consolidating, things were looking pretty dry. Then all of a sudden, boom, we're flying to the upside. So yeah, that could happen at any point. But in terms of Euro Pound and Aussie New Zealand dollar, so these are both currency pairs I'm looking to buy. Euro Pound looks like it's broken through the levels looking to buy from. So I am no longer, well, I wouldn't say I'm no longer interested in buying, but at least no longer interested in buying from that level until we get back above it again. Otherwise, it could really respect price as resistance and give us another sell to the downside. But I am looking for some longs for Euro Pound. And the plan was to look for the break and retest of that level. However, since we haven't got that yet, I'm no longer interested. If we can get back above, then I may consider, but it's got to look clean. If it's very messy, I'll give it a miss as well. In fact, if we continue falling, especially take out some of the lows on the left here, the way I see it, this looks like a massive kind of inverse V-shaped pattern, impulse up, impulse down. Could be looking at a correction for a big sell. This is kind of turning into a big head and shoulder pattern as well. So if we don't start to see some momentum pretty soon, I probably would be a bit more bearish now for Euro Pound and looking for a swing right back to the lows there at 0.822. So things can turn very, very bearish here for Euro Pound if we don't recover that level. I think we can still do that because the gap is still to the upside, and I've got of expectation that price will probably fill the gap. But we'll see. We'll see. But again, the main reason I'm still looking to buy is because Euro Pound is still in that monthly level of support. Really massive support down at these lows here. As you can see, massive rejections, and we're there again. So naturally looking for a buy. Of course, the moment I see price break through this consolidation and see a strong close below is the moment I'll look to change that bias. But for now, we haven't seen that. So I'm still looking for a push to the upside. But of course, if the 4-hour chart is not going to play ball, might be some nice sells to look into as well. For Aussie New Zealand dollar, I'm looking to buy this one too. But it looks like it might be moving without me here. So again, the setup I was interested in and still am is looking at this larger trend line on the daily chart, connecting this low, that low there as well. And then I was looking to connect this low here for a buy. Again, looking for a push back into this area. However, it doesn't like prices again. I mean, Aussie New Zealand dollar is a very choppy pair. So the fact that we're looking bullish right now doesn't necessarily convince me that we're not getting there. But yeah, we just got a very ugly consolidation on our hands, and I would expect price to go and hit that level by now. But yeah, still looking for entries there. If we don't get the retest of this area, we don't. If we do, we do. I still think there's opportunities above us anyway. So we've got a strong level of resistance here on the left. If price can, didn't mean to do that. If price can break above that, there could be some nice buys above that. Take it back into the high there. So that would be plan B. But this looks like a really nice swing position if we can get it going. However, yeah, just still stuck in that consolidation. Excuse me. In terms of the CHF pairs, so CHF pairs are mostly bearish on, but there's a couple that I am bullish on, or at least waiting for bullish signals. So CAD CHF is one of them. A market which is, excuse me, which is still consolidating. In fact, if I go to the daily chart, a market which is still consolidating. I am looking to see if we can break to the upside. If I zoom out, you can see we do have this bearish channel here. So connecting the highs as so, connecting the lows as so as well. I'm looking to see if we can break to the upside here and get a swing back to the upper end of that channel. Of course, at the moment, we're still stuck in the range, so not much to report on or to do. But the moment we do break the high is the moment I'll be interested in price again. And then, of course, looking for a push back to the high end of the channel, which is around the 0.65 mark. You can see price has been very consistent with these lower highs. So the goal is to continue with that. And since we've done such a good job of respecting the lows as well, and it looks like price has just been stuck in that area, I do think something like this could happen in the next few days, few weeks potentially. So yeah, waiting for a break to the upside and then some longs, and probably gonna use the 4-hour time frame for entries. However, most other CHF pairs I'm very bearish on. Aussie CHF, for example, I'm looking for a really big sell here. It's taking a sweet time to play out, but I am very bearish on this one. We've got a humongous level of support just below us, which I do think price will break through. And the moment we do break through the support level is the moment I'm expecting price to continue its bearish trend all the way back to the low here at 0.536. So I'm waiting to see if we can break through that support level and hopefully find some shorts below and just take advantage of those lower highs. That is very much the idea at play. Break and retest somewhere. I'll monitor that as it does develop, but that's more or less what I'm looking for Aussie CHF. It's a very, very bearish market. If we expand to the weekly chart, if you look at the overall direction of the market, what we're doing, we're pretty much selling off continuously. So looking for sells is never really a bad idea for Aussie CHF. In general, of course, it can be a bad idea sometimes if you go selling straight into support. Then, of course, doesn't make much sense. But in general, if you're looking for a sell in a market which is trending lower, you're putting yourself in a healthy position. Then it's up to you to make sure you position yourself well to take the trade. But yeah, very, very strong level support, which if it breaks, looking for a lot more downside. New Zealand CHF has already broken through a similar level of support here on the left, and we've been trending to the downside since then. I was actually looking to see if we can come back for a retest of that area, which we just missed last week or maybe the week before. We just missed that, unfortunately. But again, for New Zealand CHF, still looking for a swing back to the low here at 0.494, which again, we're probably going to see soon. Very, very corrective move on the way up, which again is the characteristics of a pullback. If you're seeing a move which is as corrective as this, it typically means that we are ready to form a lower high and push down, which does happen most of the time. And now we've had, of course, had the gap to the downside. Looks like price has gone and filled the gap, potentially to retest the trend line as well. And maybe now we can continue lower. So again, looking for opportunities on some corrections to keep shorting back into the lows, at least the low here on the left anyway. But I would expect us to get to the wick low, which I'm pretty sure is the all-time low. I think it is, yeah. So yeah, New Zealand CHF very, very bearish on as well. Still seeing lower lows and lower highs, corrective behavior on the way up. So there's a good chance we continue falling. We see these prior lower highs here, and that looks to me that probably will be the next one. In terms of pound CHF, I actually like this one a lot as well. Just it's stuck in the consolidation, but if it can break the downside, again, just like we mentioned with Aussie CHF and like CAD CHF, I think there's a big move to be had. We've got the prior lower highs in the market on the left here. So you've got one over there, second over there as well. And I'm looking for the third, may have already been printed. Again, this is just the range. We've got price trapped in, equal highs there, equal lows here as well. So the goal is to wait out the consolidation. If we do break the downside, looking for some shorts on either the retest of the range or a break and retest somewhere. It doesn't have to be the range specifically, but that would, of course, be the first call. And then swing it back into the low. So that is another big swing opportunity I'm eyeing up, but it's been taking its sweet time. We respected the support on numerous occasions. I originally thought we were going to get the breakout here. We didn't get it. Push back up. Test the support again. Push back up. So yeah, we'll just wait to see how that does develop. I may look to try and short back at the high again and try and catch another swing back to the downside in the meantime. Because if I do catch it well, it means I can hold a trade back into the low here. then hold some positions back into the low here and really maximize that trade, and that could turn into a very, very big position. So yeah, I wouldn't mind shorts up there, but it has to look good. So I'm keeping an eye for that. And lastly, in terms of EUR/CHF, I don't really like this pair, to be honest. It's got very, very corrective. It's broken through structure as well on the left here, so I'm no longer as confidently bearish. I mean, this is still kind of our major lower high, which gave us this drop here. So technically speaking, we can still respect structure here and sell off, but it's become very corrective. I'm not as a big fan of the price action anymore, but I still do expect us to see a sell off. I think maybe something like that could look good for the lower highs. But yeah, doesn't really fit my plan very well, so I'm not really looking to trade it much. But hey, the CHF pairs do sell off. They're pretty much all going to sell off together and do the same thing. But pound CHF looks good on the breakout or retest the high of the range. Aussie CHF looks good in the breakout, and New Zealand CHF looks good as well. And then CAD CHF looks good in the breakout to the upside. So if we are going to be bullish for the CHF pairs, then I'll probably just focus more so on CAD CHF and be patient with that one. But yeah, that's kind of my outlook with the CHF pairs. But in terms of my focus going forward, like I said, with USD, still looking to see if the DXY can hold on to this level of support here. I do think we'll probably get another test of that area. Looking a little bit bullish on the hourly chart, but I do think we'll have a slightly deeper test. So the plan is I'm still looking for the continuation of this move. So push, pull back, pull back, another push back to the high. So that's still very much the plan there with the DXY. However, yeah, I need price to come back and respect that better before looking to take any trades. And then the goal will be push back to 110, which of course I'll be expecting Euro USD to do the exact opposite. So as you can see, lower lows and lower highs there as well. Looking for the retest of that range for a short back into the lows. It's still very much the plan there as well. However, of course, price needs to get there. I think we're looking at a tad bearish right now in the lower time frames. But yeah, I want price to push up a little bit higher. How's pound USD doing? Okay, looks like pound is seeing some downside as well. Is testing that range, but again, would have wanted a bigger push up first. But again, the plan with pound USD again is still swing back into that low there at 1.21. So very, very bearish on pound USD as well. But dollar CAD, since we've had such a big kind of breakout but recovery, to me looks like dollar CAD's probably going to sell off. This looks like a big fake out to me, especially because we're coming in major resistance. So I do think we might. Oh, didn't mean to do that. I do think we might correct and probably sell off. BTC falling, yes. Bitcoin is falling. Bitcoin, pound USD. I don't know why I said BTC. Yeah, pound USD is falling, at least with that candle there. But again, it's still got a lot of work to do before it does really excite me. Because yes, we're seeing a nice bearish close there, but we're coming into support. And the next candle could be looking just as bullish on the way back up again. So if we do start clearing support, then things get interesting. But yeah, it is a nice bearish candle close. And if that momentum does continue and we break the low, then we might see a big move down. Divine, yes, I did say I do really have a video on that topic. If you go to my Forex education playlist, you'll search for the videos, you'll see it, the video there, but I will do another one as well. Drag stop loss to 20 pips profit now after retrace. Fingers crossed. Okay. Yeah, hopefully that does continue there for you, Dark Sean. Oh, that's a nice close on the hourly chart. That is a very nice close. Okay, yeah. Momentum's looking pretty decent. I mean, it's a little bit corrective, but that's a nice push down. I think the hourly candle close makes it look a lot better. 5-minute chart, we took our time a little bit, but because the hourly close pretty bearish there, I would say there's a good chance you could at least see a bit of a drop there on the next hourly candle. So yeah, I would say it is looking a lot better. So yeah, hopefully price can go and hit your target there. But anyway, guys, we have come up to the end of the stream. If you guys have found it useful, please be sure to drop a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content, and of course, hit the bell as well so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Make sure you do check out the Elevating Traders Discord channel, complete free to join. You can share your setups there. I share ideas there as well. I'll ask questions. If you're looking to check out Elevating Traders, find out some more information about it, you can find that there as well. So if you are interested in checking it out, link in the description and also at the top of the chat, completely free to join. But guys, appreciate you spending some time with me. I will be live again tomorrow. I'm live every weekday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. So if you are free, pop in, say hi, and we'll have a good chat about the markets together. But guys, appreciate you tuning in. Have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next one.